There are only two questions that matter for the next hour or so. What's your Mount Rushmore, and why in the hell are you not wearing any damn pants? Just because the hosts don't wear pants doesn't mean you shouldn't. And by host, I only mean Mark Duvel. Enjoy this week's episode, weirdos.
Welcome to What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast with host Mark Duvel and John Hanson.
Are you kidding me?
Two old friends and knuckleheads discussing and covering their top four choices for any and all topics, making up their Mount Rushmore selections each week. Nothing is off limits. As you listen, remember, we always want to know, what's your Mount Rushmore?
Hey folks, thanks for joining us once again. We're always happy that you're here. We're happy to be here for you. Keep on listening. We love it. This is John Hanson with the What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast. I am one of the hosts.
He's one of them. I'm the other one. My name is Mark Duvel. Welcome back. Another episode, another topic, and another guest. And this one's really cool. I can't wait to dive into this episode. It's a fun topic. It's very lighthearted. And I think it's going to be a huge variety of what we end up discussing on our picks as we go round and round the merry-go-round. Mm-hmm. So today we reunite with an old friend of mine, one of my all-time favorites from high school. And yes, I'm talking about the class of 95 from Park Center, the ultimate pirate.
Do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
She was always kind, funny, and full of energy and just always fun to be around. She also shares something in common with John and I. She interned with former KDWB midday radio personality John London at KDWB. So if you remember the phrase, "Good morning this morning," that was at Jagoff. But we all love him to death. So it wasn't a tough pick to grab her when we wanted a female point of view for today's topic, which is romantic comedy movies. So let's get her back behind the mic and let it rip. Let's roll. Welcome to the podcast, Annie Ellis, also known as, in my old world, Annie Tillotson.
Hi.
You're like a little breath of fresh air and a beacon of light.
Really? Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be on with you guys. I love your podcast, and I'm looking forward to this.
It's just cool because, again, it's probably such a little blip on your radar. The moment after post high school, I don't remember the exact years, but I know you were looking into being kind of a radio personality.
Yeah, I was.
Got you in touch with Johnny London.
Yep, you got me in there.
He was a great guy. I miss him dearly. John and I, we've had a little bit of contact with him over the years, but not as much as I'd like, because he really was a fun guy.
We should try to get him on the podcast sometime.
I think we absolutely have to do that, and I think he'd be amazing.
Be so
and he still has like one of the best voices around. Like he has just the good old fashioned phrase. He's got the pipes.
I agree. And he has a spicy temper.
Spicy.
Yeah. Good word.
He's a spicy fella.
He is.
No, but John and I have this huge list of topics that we plan to get to, and this has been on there kind of since Jump Street. And I always knew this should be a topic. John agreed, obviously, that look, when we get to the topic of romantic comedies, it can't be us two dickheads just talking about romance. We got to bring in a female point of view, and that's why, I know it was probably really random when I reached out to you to be, hey, Annie, want to be on our podcast?
I am looking forward to it and can give a little female perspective on the rom-coms.
Absolutely. Well, if you want to get us rolling, man, let's get to it. We all have 4 picks. We don't know what they are, and we're about to reveal them one at a time. So we'll give you the honors there.
All right. And I can't wait to see if we land on the same one, any of them. My number 4 is Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell and Julianne Moore and Ryan Gosling. It's a 2011 movie. Have you guys seen it?
I have once.
I've only seen it once as well.
It's So funny and so clever. Steve Carell and his wife Julianne Moore. What are their names again? Emily and Cal. They get a divorce, or she wants a divorce because she cheated. And he meets Ryan Gosling in a bar, and Ryan Gosling is just like this, like handsome, like player, and he transforms Steve Carell, and their relationship is so hilarious and sweet, and yeah, it's a great movie.
You're getting a divorce?
Yeah.
Amy heard you crying in the bathroom. We all thought it was cancer.
Oh.
Thank God, man.
Yeah, just my relationship. Hey, ladies man guy. Any tips of the trade?
Your wife cheated on you because you lost sight of who you are as a man. Why don't you take that straw out of your mouth? It looks like you're sucking on it.
Okay.
I met a girl, and she is a game changer. I'm in love with her, and I don't know what to do about it.
The twist in the movie is so cute because Emma Stone is Steve Carell and Julianne Moore's daughter, and Ryan Gosling is like such a player and is like teaching Steve Carell how to get game with the ladies, and he ends up dating their daughter, who is Emma Stone, and then when he meets him, it's just hilarious.
I recently developed in the last like 6 months, give or take, a total new appreciation for Ryan Gosling. I mean, I know he's a lady killer, and everyone has their little pinups on their wall in their bedroom of him.
Yes, we do.
I just thought
So
it was
cute.
hilarious, though, the Beavis and Butthead bit on SNL that he was a part of.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, he's fun to watch in those kind of situations because he cracks himself up. I think he comes off like he's a pretty cool dude. Don't know that obviously, but a lot like Steve Carell. I mean, who is an enemy of Steve Carell?
How could you be? Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Ryan Gosling in this movie is so he's just hilarious. I mean, you think of all the different movies that he does, but he is really funny in this movie. Yeah. And it's so cute, like, because the rom part of it is like Emma Stone kind of breaks him down from being the ladies' man, and he just like falls in love with her, and it's like, oh, it's so good.
I think that's what's so cool about this genre is that there is legitimate humor. These are good comedies, but there is the twist, the plot line that the kind of drives the whole story, which is the love story.
When you have good leads in the movie too, those romantic elements really can click. It helps when they have their own chemistry. And sometimes you watch these movies and they don't have that chemistry. It just doesn't really work. And
true.
It's not believable. But when it works, you leave the movie thinking, I wonder if they dated in real life because they click that well together. And I think a lot of my movies are like that. You just have that chemistry throughout the entire movie with the lead stars.
John has mentioned this in past episodes before, where like when we're done recording an episode, regardless of whatever the topic is, and I have a feeling today is going to be very much that situation, where once we're done talking about all of our movies, I'm going to take notes, and I have a feeling I'm going to want to revisit some of these. And probably, and I'm not talking about my picks. I'm talking about your guys' picks.
Exactly.
Like, because like that, I saw that movie once, and it probably was right around the time it came out. So I remember it, but now I kind of want to revisit it.
It's like a guy movie. It's not just a chick flick. Like, it's so funny, even for the guys too. You know what I mean? It's really funny. You guys have to watch it again.
And I think it has to be that in order to qualify for a true rom-com.
Of course.
Yeah, I agree.
Has to have real laughs. I'm up next. Well, my next pick has lots of real laughs in it, and it's a legitimate rom-com. And it's one of the oldest movies on my list. I actually have two movies from 1987. This is one of them, and it's Overboard.
Oh, yes.
With Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell. I love this movie. I've loved it a lot since I first saw it, probably when I was a kid. It's one of my wife's favorite movies. It's probably her favorite rom-com, I'd say, maybe of all time. She's one of those movies that she can quote. But it came out in 87. It's one of those movies that wasn't necessarily a monster box office hit, but had a cult following afterwards and had its own life through rentals and on cable and all that stuff. If anybody has not seen it, it's basically a movie about amnesia and Goldie Hawn being this very rich, snobby lady, that was on a yacht, and she falls overboard off the yacht and gets amnesia, gets picked up by Kurt Russell, who is just this handyman who lives in this small town trying to raise his kids by himself. much different life because they don't have any money and she's super rich. But the problem is she has amnesia and doesn't know who she is. He convinces her that she's actually his wife and that she lives with him and raises their kids together. Wild, crazy antics ensue from there. And then, eventually it all kind of falls apart as she starts to have memories of what her real life really was. But by the point in time where she starts to get to that point, she's already started to fall in love with Kurt Russell's character. So it all kind of comes together in the end in a very funny way. And there's a lot of funny stuff along the way as she's, learning about these kids and the kids that are just wild little shits, to be honest. They're just not the most, they're not great kids.
They're heathens.
They are heathens. This movie was directed by Gary Marshall, who did a lot of rom com type stuff. Penny Marshall's brother.
Yeah, this is like his wheelhouse, this genre.
Yeah, those 80s and 90s stuff. And he encouraged a lot of ad-libbing on the set. So a lot of that stuff that both Goldie and Kurt Russell were saying to each other was ad-libbed, which kind of makes sense because they were a real-life couple. They had been dating for like 3 or 4 years, or maybe 4 or 5 years even by the time they made this movie. They already had kids together.
Oh, they did? I was going to ask you that. I kind of assumed that this was the movie set that they might have met on. And then that's where the whole little love affair began.
Yeah, no, they already had a life together. They already had kids together and everything. So and I'm sure that plays a part with how well they do on screen. The chemistry on screen was real. And when they were bickering on screen, they were pulling probably stuff from their real life.
Shit that went down that morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems a mystery woman was picked up by the Elk Cove garbage cow shortly after midnight.
Excuse me, miss. Can you tell me your name? Of course I know my name. It's
Annie!
This missing link person is not my husband.
Welcome home, baby! Whoa! Hey, look who's home!
Come on, River.
Goldie Hawn. Kurt Russell. Overboard.
It's such a funny movie, and I probably watch that at least once a year when it's on. Click on it.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
It is funny.
That's a classic. I just remember renting that. Again, a lot of these bring me back to the rental era of our lives. Yeah,
I think this movie holds up too. A lot of 80s movies, you just never know if they're going to hold up, and some of them do. This one does. I think it still works, and it's still funny. I wish they did more movies together. Now they're both older. I don't know why they didn't do more movies together when they were younger. That would have been cool to see. But
they did all these years later, though, come back and be on screen again in the Christmas Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
The Who?
It's a great movie, though. Yeah, John, you don't have kids, so I don't expect you to. But Christmas Chronicles, it's basically another angle of the story of Santa. And Kurt Russell is probably one of the best Santas I've ever seen, by the way. And she, in the sequel, because there's 2 of them, she's Mrs. Claus.
There you go. Kurt Russell's always been one of my favorite actors, too.
He's awesome.
You said you have 2 from the year 1987?
I do, yeah.
Well, can I get into my first one? My first one is from 1987. So now you got my ass puckered up a little bit, wondering if we're going to match here.
I have one from 1987 too.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! Well, here we go. The main character was Ronald Miller. Do we have a match, Annie?
Mm-hmm.
Can't Buy Me
My
Love.
number one. It's my all-time favorite movie.
I love this movie, and I'm not afraid to admit it. So this is not a guilty pleasure to me, because I think if you're a Gen Xer, you love this movie. How can you not? It was like the ultimate high school fairy tale, boy meets girl, nerd, the whole thing. So if you haven't seen this, shame on you, and then just stop it. Stop what you're doing right now and go find it. I'm sure it's streaming out there somewhere. Because it's a total throwback to that era. It's a good representation of like high school life in the 80s. It was like art imitating life. When I was in high school, I purposely paid a headbanger to throw paint at Annie's suede jacket. And unfortunately, that headbanger pothead missed and hit a dude. So then I had to buy that guy a new jacket.
Oh, shoot.
But the whole plot line, again, it's Ronald Miller, the dorky, lawn boy in this area in California.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the main character, Cindy Mancini, at a mall getting into it with like a store clerk because she's trying to return a jacket that she spilt wine on at a party, and it's $1,000 jacket. Now, Dork Boy had $1,000 from all the lawns that he had cut, saving for like a telescope, if I remember right. And he steps in and basically brokers a deal with her that, hey, I'll cover the jacket. The part that's hilarious was part of the deal that he brokered was she had to pretend he's her boyfriend for like a month. And then the nerd became the prom king type dude. And there the story unfolds from there. And then how it went to his head, blah, blah, blah.
Cindy Mancini and Ronald Miller live on the same street, but they're in totally different worlds.
Wouldn't you like to be popular?
Cindy's hot, Ronald's not. But he's got a plan that could change all that.
I want to rent you.
Rent me?
Yeah. You pretend you like me, and we go out for just a few weeks.
Just going out with me is not going to make you popular.
Well, I have $1,000. It says it will.
He's going from totally geek.
Totally chic.
Let's dance!
She was like the coolest too.
She was.
Like Cindy Mancini was like, back in the day, I remember watching that back in the day, just thinking that she was like so freaking cool. Back then, like, maybe it's different because we're older and like Mark and I are parents and we see our kids differently, but it doesn't seem like nowadays there's like the popular and the nerdy. Like everything seems like a little bit more diverse, don't you think?
I'm not quite there. I mean, this fall, my son does go to high school, so I guess I'll report back to you in a year or two if I still feel that way.
It's not just like the jocks, the cool football players and the cheerleaders, and then the nerds. It's like people I think are a little bit more accepted for whatever they're into, more than the 80s kind of.
And I hope you're right, too. I mean, I think you are, but for my own sake, just as my kid's now barreling into high school, it'll be interesting to see how that takes shape. So, John, is this do you have a match here? You said you had another one from 87. Is this your other?
No, I'm not matching on you guys on this one. I love the movie, though. It's an awesome movie, and I haven't seen it now in a handful of years. If a younger person wants to know what it was like to be in high school in the 80s, there's plenty of movies out there that documented it. So, and that's one of them.
It's interesting to watch those movies and nobody has a phone, like just the way that it all, how they all interact. And I don't know. Yeah. It's just interesting.
We tease that topic all the time, that technology kind of came in and ruined humanity.
Like when we went to party in the fields, we had to like stop at the payphone and like page somebody.
And that was for the handful of people that actually had pagers, because that's not like it was that mainstream that everyone was running around with one at the moment.
I know. No. Isn't that wild?
So crazy. Mm-hmm. But I love the movie, and it was definitely Patrick Dempsey's, I believe, his breakout role. I mean, talk about two different, career trajectories. Amanda Peterson, who played Cindy Mancini, her story ended a lot different. And when I say it ended, it did. She's no longer alive, and she went through a hard tailspin. And I'm not going to sit and act like I know everything, but I think she got into the drug scene and. I had a feeling before we were recording and waiting for you to get on. I even mentioned to John, I said, look, I have no idea if I'm going to have any matches with anybody. I said, but I have this feeling Can't Buy Me Love is going to match with Annie. I based it on nothing other than instinct.
I love it. It's my favorite. That made my day that we picked that together.
Well, so just like that, Annie's got 2 on her mountain.
Yep.
And you and I, John, have 1. So you might as well just run with it. Yeah,
I will. So I'll say my other 87 movie for the end, I think, because it might be my favorite movie on my list. So I'm going to save that to the end. Ooh. But my number 2 is going to be from 1993. It's Groundhog Day. And
oh, wow.
I don't think a lot of people would consider this as a rom-com. And actually, the rest of my picks, some people would debate that. But this most certainly is, because it has all the elements of the romance and the comedy.
Definitely.
It's stars Bill Murray, and Andie MacDowell is the female lead. She had a big moment for a while. She was in a lot of stuff for a while. Andie MacDowell. She was one of those. She just popped up in all kinds of movies, and then she just sort of faded away. It's interesting how that can happen with careers. But there's a lot of other character actors in this movie that are funny. I love Chris Elliott. I think he's hilarious. Kind of like Overboard. It wasn't necessarily a huge hit out of the box office, but became kind of a sleeper hit later on. Anybody that doesn't know this movie, takes place around the actual Groundhog Day in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, where the Puxatawny Phil, the actual little groundhog, is. The catch is with this movie is that Bill Murray gets stuck in a time loop where he has to relive the same day over and over and over again.
Morning! See the groundhog? Think it'll be an early spring.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
I don't know what you mean.
Don't mess with me, pork chop. What day is this?
It's February 2nd. Groundhog Day.
You know, I thought it was yesterday.
Oh.
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
Excuse me? Where's everybody going?
It's Groundhog Day.
It's still just once a year, isn't it?
I did some research leading up to recording this, and they apparently the guy who wrote the screenplay, his name was Danny Rubin, and then Harold Ramis, who of course is famous for movies like Stripes and other movies like that.
Ghostbusters.
He's Ghostbusters. He directed Groundhog Day. And between the two of those guys, they've both been asked, how long was Bill Murray in this loop? Because you don't really know it. They just show him that through like montages. They show him starting days over and over and over again. And they're saying that it was probably as many as 30 years that he spent in that time loop. That's what That's what the writer is saying. So for 30 years, he relived the same day, which makes sense because he's learning, he's learning all these different skills and everything, and he's mastering the entire town. He gets to know everything about the town. Anyway, the other weird thing about that is those two guys were best friends early on, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray, because they both worked together, of course, Stripes and Ghostbusters. But after this movie, they did not get along during the making of this movie. In fact, they did not speak for 20 years, and they only reconciled very shortly before Harold Ramis died in 2014. So these two guys who were, almost tied together in those 80s movies had a big falling out over the production of this movie and the direction that it went.
I have seen the movie, but I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it because I don't remember a lot of, I don't remember the romance part of it with Andy McDowell.
I remember it, but vaguely, because I bet it's been 15 years maybe since I've seen this. I watched it numerous times when I was younger because it was a funny movie. It's classic Bill Murray.
Part of the romance element is part of it is because he's trying to get her to fall for him. And at the beginning of the day, the quote unquote day, which gets repeated over and over and over again, they're not together. But over the course of all these apparently years and years of reliving this day, he gets to know more and more about her so that he can start the day knowing certain things about her. And by the end of the day, she, his goal is to get her to fall in love with him.
I'm going to make a point to rewatch that.
Oh, and Bill Murray got bit because he's holding the groundhog in the movie, and he got bit by it twice. One of them to the point where they had to get stitches. and he had to get like a tetanus shot and everything. So he was pretty pissed about that.
Yeah, that Punxsutawney Phil is a real punk bitch.
I'm no punk bitch. I ain't no punk bitch neither. I'm no punk bitch.
Oh, one last thing. Michael Keaton turned down the role. They offered it to him first, and he said no.
Really?
And, yep. And later on, he has admitted it was one of the bigger regrets of his career by not taking that role.
He was too busy doing Johnny Dangerously.
Yeah, probably.
You fucking sneaky bastard.
And was he Mr. Mom?
Yeah, he was Mr. Mom,
He was
too.
Mr. Mom, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other one with car? It was about car manufacturing, like in Korea or Gung Ho.
Gung Ho, yeah. Gung Ho with wasn't it the guy from 16 Candles? Wasn't it that
was
guy?
It?
Long Duck Dong. I think he was in that movie.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to get into my second pick then, too, and I'm just going to commit to it. I'm going to go in chronological order. Why not? I started with the oldest one, Can't Buy Me Love. I'm going to follow it up with a movie from 92, and this is kind of me in my way of tipping my hat to one of my childhood, still am a huge fan of this man, is Eddie Murphy. The movie is Boomerang.
Wow.
Now, Eddie Murphy obviously has a library of comedies that are just legit all-time comedy classics, but I love the Rom Com element of the movie Boomerang. I love his character. I love all the one-liners. I love his character as Marcus Graham's friends because I'm also a huge fan of David Alan Grier and Martin Lawrence. This was like a perfectly cast movie.
If I was dating somebody that fine, I wait, 8 or 9 months? You can wait 8 or 9 years, and you would never have no woman that fine. You wild boy. At least my lady ain't leave me for no damn guardian angel.
Why you do that, man? Why you do that? I'd have fucked them up if they do that karate shit.
Come on, man, come on, man. Stop. You're gonna get a brother heart attack. Okay, stop. Is it breathe?
With two incredible smoke shows, Halle Berry. It was like her breakout role, I believe. Could be wrong on that. And if you remember good old Robin Givens, who, you know, but it's the whole storyline of Marcus Graham, this big shot executive marketing dude, very successful, very good looking, and very much a ladies' man. Eventually lands on probably someone he would have never saw himself with, and that's the Halle Berry element of who her character is and how they meet, how it all intertwines. And I don't have a whole lot to say other than I just love it. Other than the fact that I believe it's also early stages of Chris Rock. He's in this as the role of Boney T, the office mailman.
Boney T.
And his name is Boney T.
I love it.
I hardly remember it.
I haven't seen that movie in probably 20 years. I remember liking it, but I don't remember it very well. I just don't have a good memory of it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, I'm sure this will be random. I mean, when it comes to Mount Rushmore lists, I got to imagine I'm probably floating on my own raft on this one. But it's just, I love Eddie Murphy, and it was in like the heart of me loving Eddie Murphy, if that makes any sense. Coming to America, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, Boomerang. Like it all just to me is like a big package where just give me a weekend with like stormy weather and I would watch all of these old Eddie Murphy movies and love it.
Not Stormy Daniels?
No.
That's a different kind of night.
When you talk about all those other movies, I think that I separate them a little bit. I separate his 80s movies, you know, the Trading Places, even 48 Hours, certainly Coming to America, from the stuff he started to do a little bit later. And maybe that's because I was a little bit older than you were, but so you probably found a lot of those movies at the same time. Whereas I remember the 80s movies when they came out the first time around. So I think that's probably why I sort of separate that movie out. I don't sort of put it in the same bucket, but that's just a timeline kind of thing. There's no other reason for it.
And that's the thing. One could make an argument that like, hey, dickhead, if you're going to go Eddie Murphy with a rom-com, why wouldn't you just do Coming to America? Technically, that is a romantic comedy, but in my head, that's just a flat-out comedy.
It's so funny.
Yeah, there's a love story. There's that going on in Coming to America, but Boomerang is very much about relationships. That's why I chose that one.
Right. Makes sense.
Well, I'm going to have to rewatch. Now I have another one that I need to catch up on.
We're going to end up with a list of movies that we have to get to and get the old... Get your old DVD mail-in CD sleeve for Netflix ready.
Oh my gosh, those were the days.
Okay, boomer.
All right, Miss Annie, it's back to you.
Okay, my next pick is from 2003, and it has Diane Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Keanu Reeves, Amanda Peet. It is one of the funniest movies, rom-coms. Something's Gotta Give.
I was so funny. Damn it! I was trying to grab it out of midair, the title, and as soon as you said it, I knew it.
Such a funny movie.
So funny. So Amanda Peet is Diane Keaton's daughter, and she's dating Jack Nicholson, and there's like he's 60 something in the movie, and she looks like she's like 27 maybe. Yeah. And she brings him home to their beach house, and not knowing that her mom and sister are going to come, and he's in the kitchen, and she thinks he's an intruder, and then finds out that it's her daughter's boyfriend, who is more like her age.
Okay, you stay where you are. We have a knife.
Do you live here?
Look, mister, I am going to dial 911, and you are not going to move. Zoe, hand me the phone.
No, you don't understand. I'm a friend of your daughter's.
Yeah, I don't think so. My daughter is in the city, and you like wandered in here high on ecstasy?
Honestly, I'm dating your daughter, Maren. She invited me here for the weekend. She's in her room right now changing.
Oh, you're dating my daughter?
Now, who would have thought that would be worse news?
Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson together it's like so good. They're so good.
It's like the stars align type of thing. Like they were meant to be on screen together in certain different situations, and this was a perfect example of that.
And it's weird because both of them have a long history of doing more dramatic roles, but they both together can be very funny too.
That scene that you were just talking about, when they run into each other in the kitchen, that I vividly remember that because it was hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then he has a heart attack and has to stay at the beach house to recover. And his relationship grows with Diane Keaton. And it's like the one part of that movie that I think is so hilarious because it's like they're aging people and he had just had a heart attack and they're like in bed together and he thinks he's like going to have an episode or something. And she like is taking she borrows his readers and puts them on and is like taking his blood pressure, and it's just like it's comedy gold. It's so funny.
Great.
Anything with Jack Nicholson has got gold written all over it. That dude's amazing.
Yeah,
he could do it all.
Yeah, I haven't. I've seen it like a million times, but the way that they come together in the end, they're in Paris, and as he's just been like a playboy all of his life and he's kind of met his match with her, and the way that they come together in the end is just like, I love it. It's so sweet.
Wow.
It's like you just feel so happy for them. So yeah, that's my pick.
That was that run too where he did like that movie and then As Good as It Gets. And As Good as It Gets was no joker either. Like that movie was phenomenal. It feels like it was you said this was 2003? I feel like As Good as It Gets has got to be within the window of 1 or 2 years of that movie.
Yeah, I'd guess a couple years earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. Great pick, though. See, again, another movie I just want to immediately go, damn it, I want to dive into that again.
Yeah, it never gets old. It's so, like we said on the, what was the first on the Can't Buy Me Love? It's like the perfect connection between Jack and Diane.
All right. So you talked about, how, some people might consider Coming to America to be a rom-com because there's the romantic element, but you're like, no, that's a straight up comedy. So mine probably fits the same boat, but I'm forcing it in there anyway. I'm squeezing it in. It's from 2011. It's Bridesmaids. Because this movie has the romantic element. There's certainly the romance between Kristen Wiig's character and the fella. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but
Australian guy.
Yeah, Australian actor. But the point is, it's also so damn funny. I mean, this movie is truly one of the funniest movies that came out in that, in the last 15 years or so. I didn't know this. It was actually co-written by Kristen Wiig, and she was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. They didn't win for writing that movie. And Melissa McCarthy was also nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Unlike my earlier picks that I said were sort of sleeper hits that became popular after the fact, this movie was a monster right out of the gate. Did over $300 million, only cost $32 million to make. Judd Apatow was one of the producers, and I'm sure he made bank on this movie, along with Kristen Wiig, too, I would imagine.
That has one of the funniest scenes in a movie that I've seen in the last 20 years, and it's when they're trying on wedding dresses.
Right.
That is unbelievably well done, and you almost have to rewatch it in live time when you watch it for the first time.
And every single girl in that scene is just as funny as the next.
Right. Yeah.
It's
so
like
good.
I could talk about that movie for days. After I watched that in the theater, when it came out on DVD, I went that day because I was like, I can't be without this movie. It's so funny.
I think, and I'm not trying to make it about this, but if you're gonna zero in on a predominantly female cast in a comedy movie, that's the funniest female comedy ever made.
Hands down.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. A predominantly female cast, 100%. You are right.
Kristen Wiig is so funny.
I love Kristen Wiig.
Me too.
Everything she does is just great. I don't know. There's something about her. I just want to get drunk with her and just swap stories and be stupid.
Totally. She's so funny.
You mentioned that the scene with the dress and the food after the food poisoning and all that. So that was considered to be too extreme. Actually, the producers were like, "We can't do this. We're not." The studio was like, "I don't think we want to have this in the movie." They showed it to test audiences, and that was like the highest rated scene in the movie. So okay, well, I guess we're gonna leave it in there because people loved it.
When Melissa McCarthy is shitting in a sink and then says it's coming out of me like lava.
What did we eat? Oh, sink's a goner! What are you doing? It's coming out of me like lava! Don't you fucking look at me!
Like, here's the thing. We've all had a bad bottom in our life.
Gross.
So we know what it's like to be in that situation. Up until that movie, I had never heard anyone refer to it as lava. But as she said it, it might be the most appropriate description of that feeling ever. And she just happens to be doing it in a sink.
Well, that's
Oh my God. And her legs are sticking straight out. And I can't remember the names of the two actors, but it's when she's throwing up over her in the toilet and it's getting all in her hair. It's just funny.
Yeah, it was the girl from The Office.
Yeah.
And then
and I think she was the mom on Goldbergs.
Yeah. Yep, she was.
That's a great show. If you guys haven't watched it.
The Goldbergs was a great show. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah, I loved that show too.
It's so clever, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was great. It was, especially as someone who kind of has memories of the 80s. It was very fun.
Yeah. Super fun.
This is one of those movies when you first said Bridesmaids, my instincts were to give you shit. To be like, wait a minute. I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. But that rom com. But you are right. There is an arc to the character, as she finds herself in whatever the life predicament she's in at that stage in life. She does meet that dude with the Australian accent that none of us seem to know his name.
Yeah. So this movie had some interesting casting choices too. For the role of Megan, which was Melissa McCarthy, which we all agree she was brilliant in. Both Kathy Bates and Ricky Lake were considered for that movie, for that role.
Oh my God!
Really?
Yeah.
The right decision was made, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, and what happened was, Melissa McCarthy, she had just started doing that TV show. She was on a sitcom, Mike and Molly. So she wasn't really a big star yet at that point in time. And certainly when she was auditioning. But when she auditioned, she improvised the entire thing. She just kind of tossed the script aside and she improvised her entire audition, including going up to the casting director and literally trying to make out with him. And they were like, "You're in. You're perfect. That's what we want." So
she was like a tornado that came into the room.
Yeah, she absolutely was. That's a great way of putting it.
And she was a tornado in every scene she was in that movie. She did kind of. I can't say she stole the show because there's so many good, funny performances and so many funny scenes.
Yeah.
But every scene she's in, you laugh.
Right.
She was so out there and kind of eccentric and shocking.
Just odd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the end and on the plane when she's like, "You're an air marshal," and he's like, "No, I'm not," and that's her husband in real life. Yeah. And she sticks her leg up and slaps her leg.
Yeah.
It's nobody else could do that but her. She's so funny.
I have to get back to my seat.
Yeah, you gotta get back on my seat. You get it?
No, I think, I definitely got it.
Uh-oh. What's that?
I gotta get back to my seat. Could you just move your leg, please?
Uh-oh. Somebody found a souvenir. You feel that steam heat coming? That's from my undercarriage.
Okay.
She's a great physical comedian.
She's good at that. A lot of people have wanted them to make a Bridesmaids too, and Kristen Wiig has said no, not going to do my not going to happen.
Yeah. She knows lightning in a bottle happens once, and she did it with that script.
Right.
Glad we got to talk about it. My next one's from the year 2000. I'm talking about High Fidelity. And
nice.
I love the movie. I love the vibe of the movie. I love how music is such a big part of the movie. Not just the actual music that you hear throughout the movie, is that the part of the plot line is based around music, whether that be a record store, live performances, local artists, the whole thing.
Now, the making of a good compilation tape is a very subtle art, many do's and don'ts. First of all, you're using someone else's poetry to express how you feel. This is a delicate thing. So for this one, I'm thinking. When is this gonna stop?
And I love that this was to me, I could be wrong, but to me, it was where Jack Black really became Jack Black.
Yeah.
The one that we know all these years late, 25 years later, which is weird. God, that's weird to say out loud. High Fidelity is 25 years old. But Jack Black had been in things. He was always like a working actor. You would see him in a lot of movies leading up to the year 2000. Never huge roles. And in High Fidelity, he's not the lead, But I do think he was one of the guys who did kind of steal the show. Every scene Jack Black is in High Fidelity provides laughs.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something for your own good, pal. That's the worst fucking sweater I've ever seen. It's a Cosby sweater. A Cosby sweater.
And I love his character because he's so identifiable to that person, meaning a dude who is trying to be in a band, works at a record store, is a snob about how smart he thinks he is about music and just everything in general.
Yeah.
And just a wild character. He's nuts. But I love the storyline. I love the romantic comedy part of this too, of John Cusack's character, Rob, getting his old girlfriend back, because that's how the movie starts, with his relationship ending. And then you're watching the entire length of the movie, him trying to figure out what went wrong, what can he do, and just how all the interactions with the rest of the characters take place. I love the movie, and I think it's a cool angle of a romantic comedy because of the ties to music.
Jack Black is a physical act, don't you think, comedian too, like Melissa McCarthy? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He just is so funny.
Well, it's like, think about Chris Farley talking about physical humor.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Black is kind of a version of Chris Farley, but just a different personality.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why people like that. I think grab your attention on the screen so quickly because they own it.
That movie is just so quotable too. I mean, it's just full of such great lines, and a lot of them do come from Jack Black. And that's the movie where he's always got his top 5 list, right? That's like a running theme through the whole movie. It's almost like a Mount Rushmore, except he's got 5, of all these things.
Yeah, it's kind of how they're in their nerd world of working at the record store, and John Cusack's character owns the record store. That is literally the impression you get from it, is that day in and day out, all they're doing is discussing their top 5 of probably anything and everything in life. And it's just it's a cool ensemble cast too. I mean, you got Cusack, you got Jack Black, you got Lisa Bonet, who I've always had a weird thing for ever since Cosby Show from my youth. Because she's also like eccentric. She's like a true artist. I mean, she was married to Lenny Kravitz in real life, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Tim Robbins, Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was an absolute just knockout in this movie, and her role is hilarious in it too.
I've only seen that movie one time. I can hardly remember it. I'm gonna have to have a movie day today.
I'm almost gonna crowbar in. I think you need to put High Fidelity at the top of your rewatch list, because I think you'll really appreciate it.
Yeah, I remember the record store. I remember the actors, but I can hardly remember the movie. I'll put that at the top, Mark.
And even at the end of the movie, Jack Black does a performance of Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On" that is second to none.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it almost as much as Marvin Gaye's version.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just foreshadowing his music career to come, right? When he started the Tenacious D.
Yeah. The D.
Because he is a very talented singer, songwriter, musician type guy too.
I've been really trying, baby, to hold on to this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, sugar, come on. Wow, come on. Woo. Let's get it on.
Jack Black's just, he's all time, man. So High Fidelity, my third pick. So now we're on our anchor picks.
Is it me?
It's you, Annie.
Okay, well, my number 1 pick was Can't Buy Me Love. But we already talked about that. So my last pick here is from 1984.
Ooh.
It has Molly Ringwald, Michael Scheffling, Anthony Michael Hall, another John Cusack. And it is 16 Candles, 1984.
So great.
I knew it.
And nobody picked 16 Candles, huh?
It's an honorable mention for me. It was right there.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, I kind of avoided it, assuming, Annie, you would pick it.
I was like, should I? And I'm like, I can't not. I have to do it. It's just like, it's such a good movie and it's so cute. And it's like the same thing kind of with Can't Buy Me Love, with like the popularity and the nerds and and Jake Ryan, like Molly Ringwald's character just wants to be with Jake Ryan, who is Michael Scheffling, so bad. And Anthony Michael Hall wants to be with Molly Ringwald so bad. And she, at one point in the movie, kind of like gets it, like what he feels like wanting to get together with her, how she feels about wanting to get together with Jake Ryan.
Yeah.
And just the levels of popularity. And it's such a good movie and brings back a lot of like feelings of when we were younger. And
absolutely
same kind of stuff with school, being in school and popularity. And yeah.
I loved Anthony Michael Hall's character in this movie because he was the outgoing nerd.
Farmer Ted. It's not on my list either, but it certainly could be. It should be. I'll be honest. I've probably seen 16 Candles. In fact, that's not even a close. I've seen 16 Candles more times than any other movie on my list or any movie on either of your lists. You know, I've seen
it.
Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah. I mean, I've seen that movie so many times. I have a weird thing about this that I think someday Mark and I might end up doing a John Hughes Mount Rushmore. And if we do, we're going to have some battles about how we're going to lay those lists out. But that's one reason why I've sort of avoided mentioning a lot of his movies on these podcasts. I don't know if Mark feels the same way, but we've talked about John Hughes a lot.
Well, I do, because we've had actual conversations about this. Like, John Hughes has enough movies where we could do an episode dedicated to his contribution to Hollywood, man.
Right.
That would be so good.
Well, he owned the 80s.
It'd be hard to come up with only 4, and we'd probably match on some.
And that's fine, because they deserve to be matched. And this, you're probably right. This would be on mine. How would it not be?
Yeah.
It's a fucking epic movie, man.
100%.
It's so good. In the way that she was like just so in love with Jake Ryan and just thought that she wasn't good enough. And she's kind of always picking at herself of like not good enough and her boobs aren't big enough. And, she's, and he's on the other side of it, like going after her after he finds out that she's interested in. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of a good little lesson for even girls today. Like you don't put labels on yourself and don't put yourself in some sort of category or think that you're not as good as somebody else because you think they're more popular or whatever, because he was very interested in her too. It's such a cute movie. And at the end, when they're like by the cake is in the middle of them and they're sitting on the table.
Thanks for getting my undies back.
Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for coming to get me.
Happy birthday, Samantha. Good wish.
It already came true.
Well, when you were talking Long Duck Dong earlier, that's why I had that reaction where I'm like, I have a feeling this movie's going to be talked about here in this episode. Where the duck. The
donger needs food.
No more wanky on my, no more
Yankee
on my wanky.
The donger needs food.
What's happening, hot stuff?
He's so funny.
Oh, sexy girlfriend!
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky. The donger need food.
Where is my automobile?
Automobile? Leg. Big leg.
And you know what else is so funny, like about like these older movies, or not funny, but interesting how far we've come as a society with like the words that we use, like things that are like so like that were so socially accepted to say that they're in movies because people just said them. And now, 30 years later, it's kind of almost shocking to hear in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only time I get to use those kind of those words and that type of language is on a golf course now.
Yeah.
With select buddies.
Because what happens on the golf course stays on the golf course, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Absolutely. God, I love that movie. And you're probably right, John. As much as I have openly admitted I'm lame in this department where I rewatch a lot of things, you're probably right that I've seen 16 Candles more than anything we've discussed up to this point.
Yeah, I know I have.
I think I'm with you on that, actually.
I know I have. I'd probably put Breakfast Club in that list too. I've probably seen those two both more than any other movie on any of our lists. It's weird because that's the John Hughes effect for us Gen Xers, I guess.
I think I've seen Can't Buy Me Love more than any I've seen that movie so many times.
Yeah.
So you know the lines type of thing. Like you can recite it as it's
Yeah.
playing. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's when you know you have a problem. And I can do that
Yeah.
with far too many movies. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem. Yeah.
Jeez. Great pick.
All right.
Great way to end it too. Because I was like, wait, I
Thank you.
can't believe no one has said 16 Candles yet. But there,
it's
there
so
you
good.
are.
So my last pick is my other movie from 1987. I don't have a ton of stuff to say about this movie, just that I really love it. It's The Princess Bride. So
I love that movie.
It's
Son of a bitch. This might be now that I hear that
Okay.
pick, I might have seen this movie just as many times as 16 Candles.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, this would be up there for me too, as far as multiple watches.
Yeah, so good.
You know, like I said, I don't have a ton to say about it, but anybody who hasn't seen this movie, it's sort of a fairy tale adventure style movie. Just watch it. Watch the damn thing.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Stop saying that!
It's very, very funny, and there's certainly a romantic element.
Well, Princess Buttercup.
Princess Buttercup. By the way, Princess Buttercup, you know who was initially considered for that role?
Uh-oh.
Carrie Fisher.
Inconceivable!
No, what?
Yeah. And both Meg Ryan and Uma Thurman were also considered.
Oh,
Uma
wow.
Thurman? Really?
Yeah, she would have been pretty young, I would guess, back then.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. She would have been like a kid.
Yeah. Christopher Reeve was originally considered for the role of Wesley.
Oh, come on. See, it just shows you how it's supposed to be usually is how
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Well, and then the ultimate one of that is Fezzik, who was played by Andre the Giant. So funny.
Oh, God.
I could never imagine anybody else in that movie. They actually originally they wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he wanted to do it. But they couldn't afford him because you got to think about 1987. His price tag was pretty damn high.
He's king shit at that point.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
other than them not being able to afford him and work out a deal, he might have been in the movie. They also offered the role to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but he couldn't do it because of, he was busy playing in the NBA at that time. So,
Wow. Because that's like a huge defining thing for Andre the Giant.
oh, it is. It is. It's almost right up there with his wrestling as far as how people know him.
Probably he means no harm.
He's very, very short on charm.
You have a great gift for rhyme.
Yes. Some of the time.
Enough of that! Fezzik, are there rocks ahead?
If they are, we all be dead.
No more rhymes now, I mean it!
Anybody want a peanut?
I love hearing like people that were considered for a certain role, and it's like you just can't picture it.
Yeah, you can't.
Because we only know it as we know it. And to think of it in an alternate way with an alternate person playing a part, you're like, that doesn't make sense. That's stupid.
Especially when it worked so good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things work out the way they do for a reason, and we can just be happy that they worked out how they did. The big sword fighting scene in between Inigo Montoya and the Man in Black, which was Mandy Patinkin and Carrie Elwes, they trained for 6 months leading up to filming that sword fighting scene to make it as authentic as possible.
I always thought that little set where they have that sword fight scene is hilarious. It's like it's cool. Like the cliffs, the sand.
Yeah.
They're jumping off cliffs. They're doing gymnastic flips off the bar.
And it's and it's obviously a set. It's obviously it's clearly not out in the mountains somewhere, but that doesn't matter because it's all part of the whole fairy tale experience, and it's a fun movie. I love it. Had to put it on my list.
Yeah, they did not film that scene where Game of Thrones was filmed.
No,
you can tell, but it didn't matter. It's not like it wrecked the movie. That movie is a damn classic.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Great pick. Great anchor pick. So
what classic are you going to land on us?
I wouldn't say it's a classic. It's definitely the newest on my list. It's from 2004. And again, the cast is just huge. It's perfectly cast like we've discussed in most of these, if not all of them. It's Along Came Polly. And this one is very much on my radar and on my mountain because of basically Jennifer Aniston. She's just one of them. I know we've done a celebrity crush one, but that was from our youth. Jennifer Aniston is a celebrity crush as an adult for me. But specifically this role, like, yes, she's Jennifer Aniston. So that's that. But her role as Polly Prince in this movie. It's the way her character is. It's the free spirit. She doesn't give a shit really about anything. She's not organized. She's carefree. And the love story that ties with Ben Stiller's character, Reuben Pfeffer, and he's I guess the best example I could come up with. And there's a lot of these, obviously, of the opposites attract vibe, that whole storyline. And it's a great way to capture it. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman. And I've always been a fan of him because he's never been in anything where he didn't destroy the role, and comedy included. Yep. And his role in this, he's an absolute jackass. And again, we all have a friend like this. And if you don't know who that friend is in your group, that means you're that guy. And he came up, like, this was the first time I had ever heard the phrase ever, sharted.
Yes.
And the scene and where it comes out is so perfect. Like, to shart yourself at a party like he did, but then to tell your buddy, I gotta leave. And he's like, why? I'm having a good time. What happened? I sharted.
What happened to you? Ruben, I'm in a situation here. We have to leave now.
Well, no, can we stay a couple more minutes?
But dude, no, this is serious. I just sharted.
I don't know what that means.
I tried to fart and a little shit came out. I just sharted. All right, now let's go.
You're the most disgusting person I've ever met in my life.
I was dying. I was absolutely
It's like
dying.
a universal word now.
It is. And I can't say I knew the word before this movie. So I don't know if it deserves that credit, but I'm going to give it that credit, regardless if it's accurate or not, because it's where I heard it. And I've used it many times since, and I've even done it plenty of times since.
I think most people have.
And even from our working days together, John's seen me leave rooms awfully quick. Far too many times.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
I've seen the duck walk way too many times.
And even it's a small role, Alec Baldwin is like perfectly cast in this too.
Oh, I don't remember him in there.
He's Reuben Pfeffer's boss at the insurance agency that they all work at. And it's part of what kind of character builds Ben Stiller's character, is that he's a analyst for risk for an insurance company.
Reuben, Lisa, let me just say that I would insure your marriage any day of the week. Mazel, you two. Good things. Oh, and Lisa, don't tire him out too bad on the honeymoon. I need this kid fresh when he gets back. Mazel, mazel. Good things.
And again, loaded with lines, loaded with good characters. Hank Azaria is hilarious. His naked ass is on a beach.
I love him.
As a boat captain. It's kind of what plays into the whole part of the opening scenes of Reuben getting married, and then whoops, something happens on the honeymoon. And if you're into Jennifer Aniston, I promise you won't be disappointed. She's a damn smoke show in this.
How you doing?
I can't imagine that there's anyone in the world that's not into Jennifer Aniston. She's so fun to watch. And I, like you said, I love that she's like a mess in this movie and she's totally cool with it.
Yeah.
She just owns it,
Right.
Yeah, and she leans
She's
into
awesome.
it. Like she's very much, that's her character. That's what drives her, is she has no real responsibility as an adult.
Yeah. I love that. That's such a cute movie.
I love it. Now, as far as honorable mentions, and I know we gotta wrap up here, but the one that I feel really guilty about not including, and I'll just take the liberty of saying mine, and we'll turn it over to you guys. I feel weird that I'm not putting The Wedding Singer on my list, because it's such a great Adam Sandler movie, and it's such great chemistry between him and Drew Barrymore in that movie.
Right.
And I love the premise. John and I, we've talked about Wedding Singer, I think, in movie soundtracks, right?
Yeah. Yep, we did.
My memory's a little hazy, but great soundtrack, great vibe, because again, he's like making fun of the 80s, but also celebrating the 80s all in one movie.
Well, Wedding Singer was on my longer list. I only really have one honorable mention, and I don't have much to say about it. I'm probably almost a little bit embarrassed to say that I like this movie, but it has a couple of Brat Packers from the famous Brat Pack of the 80s, but it also has a Golden Girl. This is the movie Mannequin.
Oh my gosh. Andrew McCarthy.
Andrew McCarthy and James Spader is the other brat packer, but then Estelle Getty is in this movie. She's the owner of the store she's the little old lady in that movie. But yeah, a funny movie. I liked it. Good soundtrack.
Speaking of that dink, Andrew McCarthy, did you see his documentary that he recently came out with about the Brat Pack?
It's on my list to watch. I have not seen it yet.
Okay, I have, and I'll be honest. I don't want to spoil it. My opinion of him changed a little bit, and I'll just leave it at that. I won't tell you how, in what direction, or any of that. But you give it a look-see and tell me what you think.
I loved that movie Mannequin back in the day. I just thought I watched it a million times.
Yeah, it's
such a good movie.
I considered it. Recently we did an episode of guilty pleasure movies, and I considered it for that list too because I like that movie a lot, and I'm not necessarily proud to say that I liked it that much. I will say this quickly though: Kim Cattrall was a smoke show at that point in time. She was a hottie in the late '80s. So
very much so.
And I was a teenager at the time, so I'm sure that played a part.
She just had that look about her, man. I know what you mean.
Yep.
Yeah. My honorable mention is Pretty Woman.
Oh yeah.
I loved that movie too, and I just kind of love how they fell in love and how they're from two totally different sides of the track. And it's such a cute movie, and it's got so many funny moments. And I just think it's such an iconic movie.
Yeah,
it is. This was so close to an episode we recently did called Guilty Pleasure Movies. And I didn't pick it because I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to use this as a guilty pleasure movie because why should I feel guilty about it? It was a damn good movie. It was
so
huge. I don't care. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I feel guilty because I'm a dude and I loved it so much. But again, look at what Julia Roberts looks like in that movie. How are you not supposed to be a fan of it?
Right.
My God.
And Richard Gere as Edward, I mean, he just fell perfectly into that role as the wealthy, so handsome, he was so good in that role. You can just feel the energy between them.
Yeah, perfect casting with both of them.
It was perfect casting. Well, I will say this, Annie, it's awesome that you joined us for this. I appreciate you doing
Thank
this,
you so
especially
much.
when the level of randomness that follows this request of mine to invite you on. I appreciate you taking the time to do it, but I'd feel weird if I didn't bring this up because it's fresh off my guys' golf weekend I just came back from. And instead of thanking a sponsor, I'm going to end it with a really quick heartbreak story that involves you, Annie, that I just found out about.
What?
Literally over the weekend I'm fresh off of. And it involves our old mutual friend, Mr. Bjorn Knudsen. And I brought up the fact that you were going to be joining us on our podcast. And the first thing out of his mouth after your name came up was this, is that I will never forget this, is that when I was in, I don't know, somewhere between the ages or the grades of 3rd through 5th grade, you were officially the first little girly girl that he ever offered a rose at Skateland to, and you denied him.
I did not.
And all these years later, I had to console him. I had to hug him. We hugged it out. He said little Bjorn's heart was broken. It was his first experience of rejection, and you provided that to him.
And I love Bjorn. I saw when Corey Thomas, I think, posted a picture of you guys, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Bjorn in his cute little face. He's so cute.
That's the trip I'm referencing, and I'm not making any of this up. He shared that with me, and I'm like, well, I know where I'm putting that in the data file here.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe he remembers that. Aww.
Not only does he remember it, he got the shakes telling it. You know?
I'm sure it's really stuck with him. I have to tell you guys one more thing too, and I know you have to go, but when we were talking about sharts and shitting your pants, did you guys see Shaq last week when he was commentating on sports and he had to get up and shit his face?
That's why I'm telling you.
That was great.
Even if you're not an NBA basketball fan, I think it's worth watching that show just because of Barkley and Shaq.
Absolutely, it is.
gold together.
If they were to ever go do like their own thing together, it'd be lights out. It'd be multi-$100 million deals for probably both of them because people will watch. And you're right. When they show his face, when they like you
He's
can't
keep talking.
And I love how Barkley automatically knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's got a shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so funny. I love Shaquille O'Neal. He's like so hilarious. I hope that I didn't interrupt you guys too much, and I hope that I did you justice because I'm honored that you asked me to do this with you. Thank you so much.
This was a lot of fun. And again, we really appreciate you joining us and taking the time. That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate you asking. It was so fun. I've been looking forward to it, a little bit nervous, but I hope that I did you good.
Well, our quick sign off is sorry, Bjorn, for all the years of just heartbreak that you've had to live with. And
I love you, Bjorn.
Here's to watching Shaq shit himself on live TV in the future.
Yes.